Hi guys, and welcome to another batch of your replays. Today I thought we'd take a look at some tier 8 premiums, and we're kicking off with this game from frigging F in the T-34-3, the tier 8 Chinese premium medium tank. He is here on Prokhorovka. It's an all tier 8 game, and that is good for the T-34-3 because it has a gun that only has 175mm of penetration, but a really good alpha damage of 390. So when you're in tier 8 games, you can use that 175mm to great effect. It's not so good when you're in a tier 9 game and you end up having to shoot a lot of tier 9 heavies. But let's just get going. Now, I do own the T-34-3. I play a lot of games in it because I'm still trying to get the bloody ace tanker in it. And I've had a lot of good games in it, but at the same time I've had a lot of terrible games in it. I think this tank is a tank that is okay if you've got a very high skill level, because you've got to work around a lot of problems with the tank. A lot of problems with its gun. Poor aim time, poor accuracy, long reload, but it does have nice alpha damage. Oh yeah, and the penetration, as I say, can be lacking now and again. So the gun has quite a few problems. The tank itself is quite maneuverable, not the best, but it's still quite maneuverable. It is a medium tank, but you have very poor hull armor. So it's not all bad news for this tank, however. It does have decent turret armor, and it packs a punch with that huge alpha damage, and its view range is actually quite good. Now, he's just bounced an LTTB, but this is not a position I would normally take this tank in, because of that poor gun depression. But it seems as if he's getting away with it. And there's that poor accuracy. You can see the aim time is terrible, the accuracy is not good. And you can see the gun depression is terrible as well. Couldn't get his gun down for a shot in the T-34-2. So the danger with the position he's using at the moment is he's fighting with his gun depression. And tanks that are camping up on the one line would get shots on him. But thankfully, there's a scout, an ELC AMX in E1, so frigging F knows there are no tanks on the one line who can possibly shoot him from this position. But you can see him fighting with the gun depression, having to expose a lot of his tank. He gets a bounce on his hull armor there. You don't bounce very many shots with your hull, but that was a decent angle. He was on a downward slope. But, okay, so now he's moving into a position I thought he would have been going into first of all, where you don't have to worry about your gun depression. Now, I do want to point out in the replay description that frigging F sent in. Oh, beautiful shot in the T-34-85. Unfortunately, didn't see how much health he was on. That may have been an ammo rack, I'm not sure. So, as I say, the replay description that frigging F sent in was that he fired a lot of blind shots in this game, and a lot of the blind shots hit. So that looked like a very good blind shot on one of the tanks advancing up the hill. And that looks as if it hit as well. Unfortunately, the VK dropped into stealth just as the shell reached him, so again, XVM is only showing 372 damage done this time. But as I say, a lot of these shots, blind shots, do actually go in. So his entire team are basically sitting on this side of the railway lines. They sent very few tanks over to the other side of the map. This is an encounter game, but most of his team have lemming trained up the 1-2 lines. You can see them all advancing, which means that the enemy team pretty much have the other side of the map to themselves. And frigging F is just continuing to work, continuing to put blind shots in, and he's still only on 372 damage. But he is on 1 kill. He bounces a VK3601H, and there you go, there's that hull armor. He gets penetrated, he does a quick check, yeah, he gets penetrated through the track and into the hull. The hull armor on this tank was very disappointing. But you can see he's constantly fighting with the tank. He's trying to get gun depression. Trying to let his aim circle settle down. And there's that penetration. Bounces on a VK-3601H, 2 tiers below him. So he's decided to advance. There's a Tiger 2 in the middle. Tiger 2 is showing his side. So he sits, fires third person, aims fully. And now the Tiger 2 is paying attention to him. So he's going to use the wreck of this tank for cover. Ignores the Tiger 2, aims for the T-34-2. And look at that alpha damage, 443. So even though we know he's hit a lot of shots, just 3 hits have gotten him up to 1200 damage in XVM. So his team have won this side of the map. Enemy team are capping. He's still spotted. And he's going to continue to try and do some work up here. Nope. Okay, they've lost the other side of the map. Freaking F's spider sense must be tingling. He's moving back, making sure that they're not being flanked. Every tank on the enemy team has been spotted. They're all on the other side of the map. And actually, yeah, none of them were spotted down here. So he's moving up. He's trying to spot. There's no one here. Enemy team did not try to flank, did not try to get to the south of the map, and that allows frigging F to move up. And as I say, the view range on this tank is actually quite good, the turret armor is quite good, the alpha damage is great. So the tank does have some strengths, and I'm really surprised frigging F is being able to sit up on this railway line and not get spotted. Oh, timed that one wrong, but it wouldn't have mattered. The accuracy is not great. You saw how poor that shot was. Okay, so Cap has been stopped. Frigging F decides to advance. We know there are at least 2 tanks on the hill. And you can see he's doing 47 kilometers an hour here. So the tank is quite fast. It's quite maneuverable. I wouldn't call it very fast or very maneuverable. The ground resistance doesn't seem, at least I find the ground resistance quite poor on the tank, but it does allow him to move down. He gets to the base of the hill without getting spotted. And this is definitely not a hill warrior. You have to constantly work around the weaknesses of this tank, gun depression being just one of them. But I'm not saying you can't play the tank well. There's a lot of people out there playing this tank really well, because I can't get the flaming ace. I've gotten a pile of top guns, I've gotten a pile of very nice XP games in this tank, but there's obviously a lot of people playing it well, as frigging F takes out the IS for kill number 3. He does get hit by the IS-3, and the IS-3 is now firing HE. Beautiful shot to track the IS-3 in place. When you have the opportunity to track tanks, always do, guys. If you could get a track shot that also does damage, you can see that someone else has just shot the IS-3. He's on fire. There's that terrible accuracy. Snapshot misses the IS-3, but basically, frigging F is getting all the XP and credits from assistance damage here. And he takes out the IS-3 for kill number 4. So he's on almost 3k damage, but as I say, there's a lot of damage in this game that hasn't been recorded by XVM. So he's cleared off the threats on the hill, he's moving forward, gonna try and take out this VK. He does have shots, takes him out with a snapshot. Very hard to miss the side of a VK, even when your gun isn't accurate. So there's kill number 5, just 2 tanks left on the enemy team. Frigging F is down to 600 hit points. Needs 1 more kill for Top Gun. And we know that the LTTB and the Super Pershing they both were on the island. Super Pershing decides to advance. And frigging F has to sit here, let his aim time kick in. Gets a nice shot into the T-34-3, the Super Pershing. He's bouncing shots. And there's that accuracy. Shot goes low, tracks the Super Pershing. And the LTTB is bouncing. At this range, the LTTB might have problems penning him. But as I say, I don't think the hull armor on this tank is very good. Thankfully, he hasn't had it tested very much. Okay, takes a blind shot at where he thought the LTTB was, but it wasn't. Does spot the LTTB. And the LTTB is switched to premium, but still manages to bounce on the side of his tank. Doesn't bounce that one. This tank is not good at shooting on the move. That's another weakness. Because of that long aim time, because of that huge aiming circle and accuracy, the tank isn't good at shooting on the move. So he missed a shot in the LTTB. He needs to get the kill for Top Gun. LTTB still has a lot of health left. But this is a big alpha gun. So he's flanking, looking for Top Gun, and he hasn't fired any premium ammo. Forgot to point that out. He's been firing only AP with 175mm of penetration, because when this tank gets top tier, to be honest, I very rarely have to fire premium. But he does move in, someone else gets a shot into the LTTB, and frigging F is there to finish him off for kill number 6. There's Top Gun, and 3,760 damage recorded in XVM. So frigging F picked up an ace tanker in his T-34-3 for that game. He also picked up a steel wall, which is something I don't get very often in this tank. In fact, I can't ever remember getting a steel wall. He also picked up high caliber and Top Gun for kill number 6 right at the end. But what's really, really impressive, not only was it a very, very high XP game, 1738, really high XP, but 3.7k damage recorded in XVM, but he ended up doing almost 6k damage. So a lot of his blind shots went in. Considering the gun isn't that accurate and has long aim time, really high damage game for the tank, especially, as I say, he was firing mainly AP, which is not the best on the tank. But he fired 26, he hit 21. The accuracy worked. His blind shots, all of those blind shots he was shooting up on the hill, most of them hit their targets. The penetration is lacking on the tank, but yet he hit 21, pen 19, the penetration worked. Got a little bit unlucky with a couple of track shots when he could have done damage, but really good game in the T-34-3. He received 12 hits, and his armor actually worked. He got pen 6 times, but he did actually bounce 6 shots. He spotted 1, damaged 10, destroyed 6, did 1596, almost 1600 assistance damage, and 19 base defense points. He earned an absolutely monstrous 127,000 credits for that game. After costs, big credit game, regardless of whether or not he was with a premium account or a standard account. And it was his first game of the day. 2,607 XP on a ×2, left him on 5,474. Yeah, this is a very tricky tank to play. I don't think it's a very good tank for an inexperienced player. I don't think it's a very good tank for a player who may not be that good at the game, and that could include me, because I find myself having a lot of poor games in this tank. I also find myself having a lot of good games. It's taken me a long time to get used to this tank, and you constantly have to play around the weaknesses the tank has. But when you understand the tank, when you understand its weaknesses, you can have huge games, and frigging F proved it. And he must be one of these players who's doing so well in this tank consistently. It's making it very difficult for me to get the ace. But thank you very much for sending that replay in. I think it's one of the first times I've actually featured a T-34-3 on the channel, even though I've been playing it quite a lot. It's time to move on. Next up, we've got MisterMalik in the IS-6, which is possibly my favorite Tier 8 premium tank. Yeah, I know there are a lot of very good Tier 8 premiums, but I still love the IS-6. It is a monster, even though on paper it doesn't look like a fantastic tank. The armor is not particularly good on paper, but it's very angled. You do have spaced armor on the sides, and this tank can take quite a lot of punishment. It has a big weak spot on the front of the tank in the driver's hatch, and it also has a weak spot to the right hand side of the turret, which is quite flat. So if you do face an IS-3 or an IS-6 that's gone hull down, shoot it on the as you're looking at it, the left side of the turret. There's a flat space on the turret there. But it's a brawler. I mean, it may not have the best view range. The new Chinese premium tanks, the 112 and the WZ-111, they have better view range, and they're also faster and more mobile. But it's not a slow tank. And on paper they have better armor as well, but this is a brawler. It's about getting up close and personal. It has a lot of similar problems to the T-34-3 in the first replay, in that it has a big derpy gun, 175mm, just like the T-34-3. Nice alpha damage, but again, the aim time, the accuracy isn't particularly good. Also, the IS-6 doesn't carry a lot of ammunition, not compared to the Chinese tanks, but you really don't need that much ammunition in the IS-6. It's very rare you're going to shoot through your entire supply. So MisterMalik is here on Corellia. Again, he is top tier, and when you're top tier, you do not need to resort to gold. You're a top tier heavy. IS-6 is a brawler. You want to get up close and personal. You want to start doing damage. You want to bully enemy tanks. And a beautiful shot on the move. It's not the most accurate gun. It's not great for shooting on the move, but he gets a shot into the Hellcat. And MisterMalik is just advancing. He's going to be a bully, and there's that accuracy. One snapshot works, one snapshot is terrible. So he's advanced. There is RT in play, but he's sitting here. He's waiting for the T-44 to reverse, and there is a tier 8 medium tank dispatched with. So, oh, forgot the minimap. There we go. So there was an AT-15 advancing. MisterMalik is being very aggressive. Again, side of an AT-15, 175mm of penetration. More than enough to go through. His team are complaining a lot. I don't know why. Oh, that SU-101 needs to get a personality replacement. But he tracks the AT-15. AT-15 uses his repair kit. And there's that weakness. 175mm of penetration. More than enough to go through the commander's hatch on the AT-15. Another beautiful shot into the 50-100. He bounces one shot, gets tracked by another shot. Now he's being penned. And, whoa, that was lucky. Someone takes out the 50-100. So again, you can see he's being very aggressive. He's moving forward, but this Borsig could give him a bad time. Sets up, waits for the Borsig to advance. He gets spotted. Borsig is advancing. Look at the camo on the Borsig. But he gets a nice shot in. Borsig is just fired, so... Oh, he's ignoring the Borsig. Well, the Borsig is using the big gun, so it looks as if MisterMalik is going to be racing the reload time on the Borsig. He takes out the VK3601H. He's going for a shot in the Lova. And unfortunately, Borsig does manage to get a big shot into the IS-6. It looks as if it went in. Whoops. I'm trying to see where it went in. It went in just on the corner of the turret. That was very unlucky. So MisterMalik puts yet another shot into the Borsig. Doesn't have time to aim. Doesn't have time to finish. Needs to go back and defend as an E25 capping. But you can see he was playing it aggressively. He was playing it like a brawler. The view range may not be as good as the Chinese tanks, but you've got to play this tank aggressively. The only time you would ever play the IS-6 as a support tank is when you are in a tier 9 game. Try and support your tier 9 heavies, use them to soak up the damage and do damage where you can. But it's not a sniper. It always breaks my heart a little bit when I see players playing IS-6s and playing them like snipers. You don't have the gun, you don't have the penetration, you don't have the accuracy in order to play this tank as a sniper. So you're either top tier and play it very aggressively as a brawler, or play as a support tank just behind your top tier heavies in a tier 9 game. And then your view range doesn't matter as much. So that E-25 that was capping has been taken out. Really, really surprised. He was a Unicum. He started capping and then got taken out. So it's just a question of where the remaining enemy tanks are. I mean, MisterMalik is on 3.5k damage already. He's on 2 kills and his team are losing. So there are 4 tanks that have been spotted in the north. They've just lost another tank. It is now 4 versus 7. MisterMalik is down because of that hit from the Borsig. He's down to 546 health. So he is potentially a 2-hit kill for a lot of the tanks on the enemy team. And there is still RT in play. I can't actually select... Oh, hang on. Here we go. Oh, never mind. I was going to put the tank names. Oh, MisterMalik misses a shot in the T-69. There we go. Now we can see what tanks are on the enemy team. So the Tiger II, T-69, T-28 prototype, all dangerous tanks, but he's moving up. Oh, unfortunate to bounce. The Tiger II's turret was angled. There's that 175mm of penetration. Tiger II's moving in. But you can see MisterMalik's almost reloaded, fighting with his gun depression, gets a beautiful shot into the Tiger II. But he's down to 236 hit points. Tiger II puts a big shot in. But still using standard ammo, and MisterMalik's able to put a shot into the lower glacis of the Tiger II. So again, that shot from the Tiger II. Tiger II knew what he was doing, put a shot straight through the driver's hatch. 4.3k damage. MisterMalik did really well to come back and defend. He knew his team were going to be overrun in the north. Instead of advancing in the south like you see so many players do, he was watching his minimap, he came back, he defended, and they're starting to turn this game around. So it was 4 versus 7, now it is 4 versus 4. T-28 prototype was last spotted in the middle, and you can see that MisterMalik has switched to HE. MisterMalik has already switched to HE, so he's been firing AP because he hasn't needed to fire any premium ammo. Now he's switched to HE, 174 damage. That was really, really intelligent play, MisterMalik. MisterMalik understood that the T-28 prototype was going to be showing his strongest armor. 175mm wouldn't have been enough to pen, so he switched this to HE. And there's a Stura Imel in the background, and you can see that this is not a sniper. One shot goes high, one shot goes low. There are his HE shells gone. The T-28 prototype has been taken out. It's 3v3. But I really, really don't like IS-6 drivers, A, who snipe, and B, who rely on premium ammo all the time. I think it's a big, big crutch to hide the fact that they haven't learned how to play. They don't understand weak spots. But then again, you can argue that maybe when you're firing premium ammo in an IS-6, you could still make a profit. Oh, MisterMalik decides to relocate, go south, just as his T-34 gets taken out. It is now 2 versus 3. So there's still an RL-44 that hasn't been spotted this entire game. We know that the Stura is on the sea line. And while MisterMalik was planning to go south while the T-34 was defending, he's now having to change his mind. He's moving back. And it looks as if his defensive work is not done yet. Again, I apologize if I'm rambling or if I'm making mistakes while talking through this. I haven't seen the game, just saw the end plates. And it's another big, big game, by the way, just to spoil the surprise. So, MisterMalik is on 2 kills. There are only 3 remaining enemy tanks. No Top Gun up for grabs. But he's having to move back. 236 hit points. All 3 remaining enemy tanks can easily kill him. And he only has RT for support. So he's got 7 shells of AP left. Still has 5 APC ore. And again, he's got a sneaking suspicion that maybe the Sturda is coming up from the A line. Oh, Arl has finally been spotted. That must have been a spot by Arty. And now enemy Arty has been spotted. And now the Sturda has been spotted. And oh, MisterMalik could have done with a high roll there. Really, really could have done with a high roll. He's a one-hit kill. The Arl can easily penetrate him. And he's been spotted, which means Arty is now aiming for him. So he's trying to get Arty safe. It's basically 1 versus 3 here. The enemy team have taken out his Arty. So it's getting tense. He's a one-hit kill. 1 versus 3. And he has enough penetration. Big, big alpha damage. 404 on the turret on the Arl. That's reduced him to a potential one-hit kill again if he rolls high. So it's just a question of where the Sturda and where Arty have gone. Arl is poking again, and MisterMalik is fighting with his gun depression. Sturda has come up. And a beautiful shot to take out the Sturda, but that means that the A-44s have... Oh, Arty has just flanked. Arty has missed. Does he go for Arty? Does he go for the Arl? He's going for Arty and doesn't... Oh, I think he just hit his tracks, but the Arl's moving up. He's angling. He's reversing. He needs a high roll on this Arl, and he gets it. He gets a high roll on the Arl to finish him off. That just leaves Arty. He's on 4 kills, 5.7k damage, just 1 tank left, and he's probably still on a reload. MisterMalik's going in for the kill. Looks like Arty's trying to ram him, but a shot on the move finishes off the GW Panther, and that is good game. Again, MisterMalik in chat is saying good game. It was really, really good game. Well played, sir. So MisterMalik was demonstrating why the IS-6 is probably my favorite Tier 8 premium tank, or very, very close to it if it isn't. It was an ace tanker, it was a Confederate, and it was a high caliber. Really, really nice game. And look at that XP. 1805 XP. 6,111 damage done in an IS-6. And at the beginning of the game I said you don't run out of ammo very often. Well, he was running out of ammo towards the end of that game. Just the 5 kills, unfortunate not to pick up a Top Gun, but 24 shots fired, 20 hits, 19 penetrations. And again, when the IS-6 is top tier, it is a bully. You don't need to fire premium ammo very often if you have a good understanding of the game and know where weak spots are. And because he wasn't firing very much premium ammo, he made 130,000 credits after costs. Another big, big money game. So he took 6 shots, he only bounced 2. His tracks did eat a shot, but yeah, the armor didn't hold up. The IS-6 does have some weak spots, and usually when you see IS-6 replays, the armor is very, very good. Not so much in that particular game. Lots of tanks were able to pen him. But he damaged 12, destroyed 5, did 1,274 assistance damage. Some really, really good map awareness, went down to the south, was very, very aggressive, did his bullying job, killed the tanks in the south, then came back to defend, and not only once, he came back to defend a second time when allies died. But really, really good game. 2,707 XP with a premium account. No first game of the day, no ×2 bonus, but there was some sort of bonus event going on at the time, and he finished up with 4,736. What a big game. And both games today were very, very good. I want to thank Frigging F and MisterMalik for sending those games in. 2 very, very solid Tier 8 premium tanks, although I'd much rather play the IS-6 than the T-34-3, but it's all down to taste. I want to thank you guys for submitting those games, and I want to thank you guys at home for watching. I'll see you next time.